Hello and welcome to Weather Update, Long Island Weather Update on the 1st of February. A new month, same old weather right now, still dealing with cloudy skies. Another dreary overcast day. We had a few little peaks of sun this morning, but we've been pretty much socked in the clouds today. A little bit warmer, but other than that, we've been socked in the clouds. So let's get to today's statistics at ISLEP. High was 45, the low was 33. Puts us 8 degrees above normal for the day. No surprise, but of course we want to look back, and that's what I'm going to start it off with, our monthly weather summary for January at ISLIP. So, for January, our average maximum was 41 degrees. The normal value is 39.2. That puts us 1.8 degrees above normal for a high. And last year, we were well above normal at 48.3 for a high. That's absolutely crazy. So I guess it wasn't as warm as last January, at least. The average minimum of 29.1 that was the average minimum. The normal is 24.6. That's 4.5 degrees above normal, which is quite impressive. And that gives us a mean of 35.1 degrees. And that puts us 3.2 degrees above normal for the entire month. We only had 6 degrees below that were below freezing. The normal for the month is 7. Yeah, that's actually no, that's for the highs. All right, for the highs. Normal lows. I usually don't read this stuff out, but normally we see 24.8 degrees that have lows below freezing. We only saw 18. For precipitation, we got 7.32 inches of rain. The normal is 3.66, so we were 4.97 above normal, so more than double the normal amount of rainfall. And only 3 inches, 3.1 inches of snow. Normally, we're supposed to see about 10 inches of snow. And if we look at the days with clouds, we had a lot of cloudy days, 15 cloudy days, 10 partly cloudy days, and only 6 fair or mostly sunny days for the whole month. And 15 days with light rain and 2 days with heavy rain. A lot of days with precipitation at ISLIP. Normally I don't read this extra stuff out, but because I had so many unusual things this past month. Let's now look at Central Park. And they were also above normal. Their average maximum high of 41.9 was 2.4 degrees above normal, and their average low of 32 was 4.1 degrees above normal. And that puts Central Park at a mean of 37, 3.3 degrees above normal for the month. Rainfall, not as crazy there, 5.28, but still above normal. 2.3 inches of snow for the month. That's well below normal for snowfall. And again, how many days do we have with clouds? They're not really noting that. Yeah, they're not really noting that here. But we did have 16 days with rain, which is, again, ridiculous. A lot of rainy days and a lot of cloudy days, and it's been quite a cloudy stretch. And a lot of people talking about it. I Googled this up here because there's actually a record. Some of these are, we've gone 10 days, actually, now 10 days with cloudy skies, so 10 days. It's unbelievable, this stretch, and it is a record. Nobody's talking about it, of course, because, again, people just want to bury it. But it is a record. We've never had this many cloudy days in the month of January, ever, in observing. But no mention of that from the Weather Service because, again, they are all, intimidated not to talk about anything that could possibly make people think about climate change. So let's go take a look more at our current weather now. We look back at January. It was a really crappy month, but now we're in February. See another storm in the west. And for us, not really a whole lot going on. Just doom and gloom pretty much, though. We will be getting out of it. So let's go to this bigger CONUS view here of the satellite. And you can see there's that storm in the west. Here's our storm in New England. This is going to bring a very weak cold front through. So if we look at the map here, you'll see there's a weak cold front stretching to the north, and that is triggering some light rain. So we could have a chance of some rain tonight it won't really be too substantial, but of course, why not start off the first day of February with more chances for rain? But luckily, we will be getting a break once we get to the weekend. So, looking at our current temperatures, we're in the 40s. It's pretty warm out. We're well warm. We're above normal for the high, let alone this time of night. 43. So let's look at the map and see what we got here. So southwest winds. We didn't have much sunshine. If we did, we would have gotten to the 50s. But highs across Long Island, mid 40s. However, Jersey close to 50 there, and lows generally mid 30s again. Yeah, though looks like they did get a little radiational cooling because there was a little bit of clear sky that moved over Jersey. We didn't really get into it as much, and they got into the mid 20s there, so they did manage to get below freezing in a good part of the state of New Jersey away from the city. So going forward, you see we have a weak cold front coming through tonight. A high pressure system builds in from the northeast, and so we should actually see sunshine this weekend. And you can see that there, and the sunshine this weekend. And then going into next week, you'll see that low being very, very well suppressed to the south. So we actually should have a nice, dry, an entire week with no precipitation and plenty of sunshine. Though the air won't be all that cold. As we know, it's not really that cold air. There's no connection to the Arctics, so we're not getting any of that cold air that originally we were thinking this air mass would be. Let's look at the HRRR model here, the 0Z run, and you'll see again there's a very slow moving front too. You can see there's a chance of light rain. It even lingers a little bit into the early part of the day, and then maybe by noon, afternoon, it's still a slight chance there even in the afternoon. So this is a very slow moving front and a very just weird setup that we have coming in. So this high is kind of coming in through the back door almost. And you can see it does build up, but the high is not as strong as originally modeled. So the air mass isn't as cold. So we can go look at our dew points and wind flow. You'll see tonight we've got the light southwesterly winds, and the winds become northerly tomorrow. But you notice the dew points don't even drop below freezing. So you know this air mass isn't really from that far north. And even on Saturday, dew points are in the 20s. There is a piece of the colder air up here. But we may or may not get into that. We'll have to look at the GFS and see. I don't think we're going to get into it. So obviously tonight we're staying in the probably mid 30s. We'll do it for lows. Tomorrow, 40s. Tomorrow night, maybe we'll be around freezing Saturday morning, and then Saturday, HRRR is actually showing it colder for Saturday at only mid 30s, and there's a reason for that. We have a bit of a disagreement in the models as far as cloud cover for Saturday, and if the HRRR is right, we may not even see the sun on Saturday. So let's go take a look at the HRRR and the 16Z, and you'll see what I mean here. Pop this up. You see how close these are together. All right. That could indicate cloud cover. All right. They're actually touching over New Jersey, so it could be still a lot of moisture trapped underneath an inversion deal, which might actually be giving us a lot of cloud cover. At least that's what the HRRR is thinking. If I click again as we get toward 18Z, probably see it even more here. Yeah, it's you definitely see it on there. I'm hoping it's wrong because it doesn't make any sense. It just doesn't. So let's look at the GFS now, the dew points and wind flow here as we get into Saturday, and you'll see the GFS is drier, somewhat drier air, but you'll see this area right here. That's what is going on here? It's like there and then it's gone. Look at that. What is going on there? That's got to be a mistake. So you can see there's air that's from further from the north over Maine, but we never get into that. So we were Sunday. We don't really get into it at all. It stays pretty much to the north. And maybe by Tuesday or Monday we might see a little more of it. And there's that storm passing by, but there's nothing to bring it down. And then boom, by Friday next weekend we're back in mild air again, and back well above normal. So temperatures here, obviously going into Saturday, probably still around 40. Lows at night, probably 20s. Probably low 40s for Sunday. Low to mid 40s for Sunday. You see, we're not really going to be. We're going to be It gets a little colder on Tuesday because that storm's going to help me pull down those northerly winds a little bit, which makes it a little colder Tuesday and Wednesday. But then it starts warming back up Thursday and Friday. So a week from now, we're already like getting near 50, and then we could have 50s by next weekend. Not this weekend, but next weekend. So tomorrow is Groundhog Day, and the groundhog is expected to not see his shadow and call for an early spring. So let's look at the cloud cover here on the GFS. All right, so Friday we're not clearing out now. See, it's slowing down the clearing out. Saturday it's still got some clouds over the eastern end of Long Island, retreating more toward the afternoon. And Sunday we're more likely to see clear skies. And then here we go, Monday, where we have this interesting little setup going on with this storm offshore. We're going to have to see how many clouds it throws back at us next week. We'll have to see, but we're going to be on the periphery of that. Just very, very weird, very strange setup. And what's strange about it is that it's not going to be all that cold, despite the northerly flow. That's the really strange part of it. But you notice there's a little bit of a like a light shading here. It could be high clouds. So let me just go and we're going to look at some soundings here. I know we're all desperate to see the sun. It's not going to happen tomorrow, but Saturday I'm hoping it happens. But you can see these lines are fairly close to each other, actually, from the upper levels down to the mid levels. This looks a little different than the HRRR. This is Saturday, all right, and then for Sunday, I think these lines get even closer. Yeah, they get even closer. So we're going to have to watch for this. Doesn't necessarily mean there'll be clouds there, but we'll have to watch. Of course, if you've got a lot of upper level moisture, it could be, jet smog and crap in the air. Hopefully not. I'm hoping not. But it's really hard to tell until we get to it tomorrow night to know for sure what exactly the sky is going to be like. Our gem, obviously the most optimistic. It always is optimistic, isn't it? Even gives us a little sun late tomorrow afternoon. I don't know if that's going to happen. But Saturday, I think you see that there could be some clouds over the eastern part of Long Island, and then they kind of fade away in the afternoon. And then here's Sunday, not really showing much in the way of clouds. Again, maybe a little tongue of clouds. These could be high clouds getting over the east end there. I don't think this doesn't really show us the levels as far as the clouds go. But take a look at the HRRR. So we're going to look at that because the HRRR is a totally different opinion on Saturday, which is kind of interesting. So let's go to Ventu Sky, and we'll look at the cloud cover. I'm hoping maybe it changed its mind, but we'll see. We're going to go in here and take a look. So Saturday morning, 9 a.m., HRRR has us socked in with clouds. Going to 11, still socked in. It's got a little break over Suffolk County. So this is the HRRR. We're looking at the HRRR in Ventu Sky. HRRR doesn't have much sunshine at all. It has like partly sunny to mostly cloudy conditions on Saturday. Man, I hope it's wrong. I really hope it's wrong because if we go Saturday with no sun, that means 2 weeks. 2 weeks with no sun. That's incredible. That's incredible to have a 2-week period where we've had mostly cloudy conditions every single day. I don't think that's ever happened before here. But it's very, very screwed up. This is the HRRR. Hopefully it's wrong. I say hopefully it's wrong. Because if we look at other models here, like Windy, which is the European, and look at cloud cover on this, I'm hoping this one doesn't do it either. Now, this one has it mostly sunny. It has maybe a few clouds over it. So I'm hoping the HRRR is wrong. Of course, the European has it colder, only in the 30s. So, I don't know if we're going to be. I'm hoping at least we can eke out an average temperature, not people above average. It seems like we just can't. And the problem is this all goes back to we go to the North American view here, and the upper air here. So the problem is this. So as you go into the weekend, you're like, oh yeah, the isobars are coming right from the north. Great. But there's no connection. The connection is cut off by the Pacific here. All right, there's no connection to that really cold air. If we look at the temperatures here, there's no connection. Look at it's all way up here. There's no connection. If we look at the jet stream, you'll see that there's no connection. The jet stream is basically split up. The polar jet is like basically almost non-existent. This is the pack jet, which is sort of like becoming a southern jet. So it's just not letting the cold air come down, basically, and so and we have a polar vortex that's wrapped up. That's not letting it come through. So, yeah, we've got a big ridge here in Canada, but it's in the wrong spot. The cold air is just not being allowed to be blocked through when you've got this big fire hose jet that's just coming through here. I mean, the Pacific fire hose is basically like just, we can put, well, it has to be red, I think, if we want to paint it. Got to paint it a little redder. So, yeah, all right. That's good. The Pacific fire hose is like that, and it's just not letting the air in. This is Pacific air we're getting down here. It's not from the Arctic. The Arctic is blocked off. It's closed. We're not getting any air from the Arctic Circle at all. None. All right? And if you wonder where it is, well, most of it's on the other side of the globe. That's always the answer we have. If we go back to Ventus sky, you'll see that. We're actually displaying temperatures here. It kind of displays where the cold air is. And you can see the effects of that Pacific jet. Even Canada, a lot of Canada is above normal. I mean, even well into places like Alberta and Saskatchewan. I mean, temperatures are in the mid-30s. You're supposed to be bitter cold. You're supposed to be bitter cold in the winter there. It's not. It's not at all. Only extreme eastern Canada has this is some bitter cold air here. But it's not being allowed to come down. It's not being allowed to come down. We need originally we thought this was going to come down, but because of the influence of that Pacific jet, and you could kind of trace it out here. I know I'm going a little long here, but I didn't want this to be too long a weather update. But if you're wondering why it's not going to get cold despite the north winds, it's because you got this low here, the Gulf of Alaska lows, Pacific jet coming in and blocking it off. All right, so this can't come down here. This is going to just move. This is just going to move this way. It's not going to come down. It's going to move this way. And so we're stuck in this just ridiculously warm pattern. And you've got to wonder when will winter ever get here? Meanwhile, you go to the other side of the globe, it's a completely different story. There's a lot of cold air that's made its way pretty far down, and they've had some pretty cold weather. Like Harbin, China is 0 degrees. And they've had some pretty cold weather even in North Korea. They've been in the teens and 20s on and off. They've been getting plenty of cold. They don't have that Pacific air. The cold air is just basically stuck in this area. It's not... And it's been warm in Europe, too. I mean, it's just... There isn't as much cold air to go around, and the Pacific jet, this fire hose, is just messing everything up. So this is why we're not really going to see any cold weather, but I'm hoping at least we can get some sunshine in here, because I am so tired of these clouds. It's making me feel very much under the weather and very depressed. So, thank you for watching. Have a good night.